Hi there folks, down the workshop again this Sunday afternoon. I was just thinking to do a video displaying the anatomy of two big lures that I'm working on. I have the blanks here pre-assembled. These are supposed to be catfish lures. I want to try my luck on catfish the oncoming season, so they are rather big crankbaits and they have to be very sturdy and reliable build. I was thinking that I should show you how I do this. Maybe some people out there could take advantage of it, get some input and inspiration about this through wiring. So this one is a crankbait with the pikey lip or Z lip. This one is actually turned off abachi wood, quite a buoyant kind of wood. Its buoyancy is somewhere between balsa and pine wood. Problem about this lure is I wanted it very fat, and I only have 27 millimeters thick balsa wood dowels. So to get a blank that I could turn down on a lathe, I needed to glue two pieces of abachi board together. And first of all is I did it with wood glue, and if you do so, you have to take care of that it's waterproof wood glue. There are two types around for indoor use, and this one is waterproof. I was thinking I should glue this thing together with epoxy, which would bond very well as well. Another problem is that I'm soaking my blanks into propionate. Here's a thin propionate mix. I would soak the lures 48 hours inside of this stuff. It's brown because I used, I've soaked teak wood in it, of the oil containing in that wood. The mix turned brown. Normally it's clear. So, and propionate contains a lot of acetone. Actually, it's the solvent. So I've made trials, and the acetone dissolves epoxy. But it does not dissolve the waterproof wood glue, because it said here that it's solvent free. I've made trials before I've started to work on these lures, and the acetone does not affect the glue bond made with this waterproof wood glue. After the 48 hours soak, I would use some thicker propionate. You see, this one is clear, no oil inside, and dip the lures into it for about 10 times to really get a tough sealer, several tenths of a millimeter thick. The only problem about this is that, of course, I did all the fittings before: lip slot, belly slot, holes for rattles and so. So if you dip this lure blank inside of the propionate, they would all clog up. So you would have to cut all the fittings free again. The hole in the center, rattle holes, lip slot, the hole for the belly hook hanger. You know, it's a bit elaborate. My method is not suitable maybe for people making lures for sale, because they have to work rather economically. But I don't mind spending extra hours on my lures. I want them to be sturdy, and I want to be satisfied with them. Okay, I'm going to give you a close shot now. Here's the second one, by the way. This one has been turned from 40 by 40 millimeters red Meranti. So no gluing involved in this one. I'll give you some close shots to show you the details about these lures. Okay? Okay, I'm going to disassemble the pre-assembled blank in front of the camera now. Before I glue everything together, I always like to fit all parts together so I will not have any troubles later with the wet glue, because then it would be too late. Okay, I would first extract the center shaft. I have ground a little tip onto it. By the way, it's 1.5 millimeters welding wire, stainless of course. The little tip here that I've ground to it helps to insert the wire. Here's the assembly of the eye wrapped here. The lip of 1.5 millimeters aluminum. Made some holes there and cut some grooves for a better glue bond. And here I've inserted a little pop rivet. This is when the wire harness would have been glued in. I let the glue set for 24 hours and then I will wrap the eye. I put the pop rivet simply that the wire windings would not damage the wood, but lay snug against the pop rivet's head. That's why. Okay, now here's the belly hook hanger. A figure 8 wire form. So inside of the lure the shaft passes through. All would be epoxied together, so it will not move anymore. Now, because this is a catfish lure and catfish, they react to noise, I've put in some rattle chambers. 1, 2, and these ones won't come out, huh? Okay. Yeah. Murphy's Law. I like them to fit snugly. This is if you don't have the right tools at hand. Let's try it this way. Yep. Okay. I told you before of the propionate dip has been clogged up with glue reminders, and I had to drill it out again. Okay, here we are. 4 rattle chambers. I can't do one chamber passing through because the internal wire harness, you see, just passes through the bores. So I had to do 1 rattle chamber from either side. You can check out my YouTube channel. There's a little video about how to make these rattle chambers. Well, how to do the blank is first I glue it together of 2 wood boards, that's what I said. Then I turn it down, and next step would be I would drill with my Dremel, yeah, 1.5 millimeters hole centered right on this central axis, as deep as I can. Do the whole thing from the other side, and after, since I do not have a long drill bit, I've made myself this piece of 1.5 millimeter wire and beat it flat at the tip and ground 2 cutting edges onto it. So this is what I would use to drill the hole through, from either side to meet in center. But if you're using such device, it is pretty dangerous because the wire is soft. So before you switch on your drill, insert it. Do not switch the drill on when this wire drill is still out of the material. Insert it at first. and then you switch on the drill and use a slow feed. If you switch on the drill with this thing outside of the hole, the wire would kink instantly and it might tear off and might hurt you badly. So be very careful if you do such. I simply do not have longer drill bits. That's why I have to do it this way. This one is 3 millimeters. So I have drilled this actually free-handed. I have good eyeballing abilities. Still, I did not manage that both holes would meet in center, so I drilled them bigger with this 3 millimeter one. You see, this one passes over the half. So finally I managed them to meet in center. There are better methods to do this more accurately, but I'm okay with it. I hardly have any rejects this way. And that would be the first process, to drill the center hole. After you cut the lip slot, I could do it on my routing machine, or I'd use such a miter saw, but the saw blade is a little bit too narrow to accommodate my 1.5 millimeters sheet metal. So I've learned the trick from Mr. Paul Adams, another brilliant lure carver on YouTube. He taped two metal saw blades together, and actually these two blades taped together do exactly make up for the right thickness of my 1.5 millimeter aluminum sheet. You could tape 2, 3, or maybe even 4 blades together to make up for your desired thickness. Sorry. Alright. Something else. Okay, the rattle chambers I have explained maybe 2 years ago in another video of mine. Did I forget something about this lure? After you cut the lip slot, naturally your hole for the wire shaft is centered, but this closure wrap and the line tie is below center. So I had to cut this pouch with my Dremel and some router bits. Took some time, but it worked out very well, as you can see. All fits together nicely. Yeah. And finally I've drilled this hole to accommodate my figure 8 wire form. The inner eye, of course, 90 degrees offset to the outer eye. Alright, that was about this lure now. Let me stop this and explain the second one. Okay, here's the second lure, a jointed one. So turn from one piece. I did the separation on the lasso. I just left a little stem in the middle, which I cut down later. So when I cut the lip slot and drilled the hole for the rattle chamber, it was still in one piece. I've separated it later. Okay, again, it has a pop rivet to protect the wood when I'm wrapping the eye. Again, the shaft has ground a tip onto it. There's a tip ground to the shaft. Also, okay, this thing. Alright. Same procedure with this thing, drilled from either side. First with the ordinary 1.5 millimeter drill bit, then with this long wire. This piece is shorter, so I didn't have trouble that both holes would meet in center. Extended this for 3 millimeters for the pop rivet to fit in. and extended this one maybe 4.5 millimeters for the closure wrapping of the wire shaft to fit in. All would be epoxy together. Okay, that was the rear part. And now I have to extract the rattle chamber first. See, here's a longer chamber because there's no wire harness disturbing inside of the rattle hole. Because, now let me take this apart. Not that easy. Murphy's Law. Looks like it's deforming a bit. Oh yeah, it did. Okay, gotta bend this together again like this. Okay. Now, this is the internal wire form. Made this is where the rattle chamber would sit. That's why I bend it to this Y shape. What I like to do about my wire forms, some people only bend the tag ends maybe half an inch or 1 inch and cut them off here and there. Well, I like to lead the wire all the way back and bend it down in between the shanks of the belly hook hanger. You know, I'm just feeling more safe with this because all would be encapsulated with epoxy later, so less chance of pull out. Also, the longer wire provides a bit more of ballast to the belly. Yeah, when gluing this thing in, I must not forget to leave this the rear wire form on it, otherwise I would not have a chance to assemble it later if I forget. What else to say? Well, again here the lip with some holes and grooves for better glue bond. Okay, this slot I've cut. The initial cut I've made with this cutting wheel for the Dremel. Later I used my miter saw again. But first I would cut the lip slot, which is my reference. Here I've extended the slot a bit so a kind of a glue plug would evolve around the eye just for more stability. Okay, I guess that I've told you everything that I wanted to say. Okay, alright. Okay people, this was my little info or description about 2 catfish lures that I'm working on. Must be very sturdy, very reliable, so I could proceed to glue them together now. One more thing, I'm using epoxy, 5 minutes epoxy, so I have to be very fast before with the gluing before the glue starts to set. What I would do actually to get glue inside of the bore here, I would tape the rattle holes, put glue in the belly hole and the slot, maybe close them with the finger and suck the glue inside of the bore. I often do this with such lures because if you just smear the glue on the wire form, it would smear off. I want it to enter as deep as possible. So never glued my lips this way, so I don't consider it to be very dangerous or unhealthy. I'm alright with it. Well, what else would I do? Yeah, that's one more thing I wanted to say. Okay, hope that it was not too boring for you, and thanks for your interest. Goodbye.